right, boys and girls. I am on the one and only Bob. Yesterday, my internet was a little sketchy, so I've decided to record myself reading, and then when we are finished, you will use that slide deck and give me 3 events that happened in chronological order. Please make sure that you are writing third grade sentences and that you are stretching your sentences and you are making sure that they are epic, awesome sentences, and also pick 3 main events. Don't just tell me that he ate the pizza. All right? Tell me 3 main events. All right, here we go. Dream. This morning I wake up in my cozy bed way too early for Julia to make me breakfast. She and her mom and dad are still asleep, and even the guinea pigs are silent. My belly grumbles, and once again I curse my thumbness. Thumbleness. Humans are one big design flaw: the inferior noses, the inscrutable humdrum rumps, and don't even get me started on their odor. But the opposable thumb idea, yeah, that was a nice upgrade. The cans I could open, the doorknobs I could conquer. Anyhow, I feel worried off. Worry is a waste of time, and if it doesn't fit with my tough guy act, but sometimes I can't seem to help myself. Before I woke up, I'd be dreaming about Ivan and Ruby and Stella. It wasn't a nice dream, a fun and run toe twitcher. Nope, this one was a nightmare, a bad one. We were swimming, all 4 of us, in a black, raging river, and for some reason I was in lead. And I kept looking back, telling them I was going to save them. Me? Save them? 2 elephants and a gorilla? As I paddled like mad, their voices faded, and I looked behind me, and they vanished. And then I heard it, a faint bark, that bark. I woke up then, like I always do. I did an all over shake, tossing and trying to get the stench of the nightmare that clung to me like shampoo after a bath. I told myself to chill, get a grip, stop worrying about nothing. And yet, some primitive part of my brain, the wolf in me, maybe is on the edge. A lot can go wrong in the moment left to chance. The blink of an eye, the bounce of a bone. There are so many ways the world can find to fail you. The, the smell of a storm. By the time everyone else wakes up, I've calmed down, but the wind outside sure has not. It is an early fall Saturday, gusty with scrapes of the sun, clouds bouncing off each other like bunnies in a basket. Messages on the wind pouring in from everywhere, from dogs making their daily rounds, from feral cats to anxious raccoons. Basically, everyone is asking the same thing: what's the deal with the weather today? I already know. The Weather Channel was on last night with a screen full and big of white cotton candy looking squirrels. Julia's dad, George, had already taped up several windows. Sarah, her mom, packed an emergency bag just in case we had to evacuate. Another hurricane is on its way, 3rd this season. Not as big as the last couple ones, but slow moving. I've seen the routine. I know the ropes. Once breakfast is done, I sit on the couch in the living room, waiting impatiently for Julia to come home so she can take me to our daily stroll. She has a dog walking service and she's out with other dogs. I get my own private walk because she's my own private girl. I can actually taste the storm coming through the open window. The back of my throat tingle, the metallic edge, the frizzy energy. But it's more than that. It's as if the air is up to no good, sneaking up on the world and looking for trouble. On the poetry of stink. Of course, not everyone can smell what I'm smelling. My nose is a zillion times more powerful than a human's. Dogs are experts at odor, students of stink. We analyze the air the way humans read poetry, searching for invisible truths. And we just don't smell the good and bad stuff the people notice with their schnozzles. The unusual suspects: popcorn, the lilacs of freshly sharpened pencils, diapers and Brussels sprouts, and freaked out skunks. No, our noses get it all. the whole shimmery double rainbow in April. Humans, they're lucky to get a cloudy day in November. We get the molecule of roast beef dancing in the wind 50 miles from the tidy kitchen where it just slid out of the oven. We get the cherry lollipops under the back seat of a Honda 16 cars up the highway at rush hour. We get these things that humans can't even dream of getting. We're the ones who find the miracle earthquake baby cuddled in a crib under tons of rubble. We're the ones who find the lost hikers in the wilderness after a quick whiff of a sweaty sock. We can even tell when someone's sick. We can smell seizures and cancer and migraines and headaches. Try getting your guinea pig to do that. We smell feelings too. Sad has a sharp scent with an undertone of sweetness. Sad smells like being lost in the winter forest as the sun goes down. And happy, happy is the best. But there's a touch of wistfulness around the edges. Happy smells like bacon ice cream served up in an expensive leather shoe. You're going to love every minute of it, but you know it's not going to last forever. The news. Sometimes when Julie and I go for walks, I'll break at a corner. Corners are the best for fresh news. And she'll tug and say, "Come on, Bob, there's nothing there." Oh, but there is. Here is something about poop and pee. I get that humans are not into them. I see the bathroom doors shut tight, the embarrassed, downcast gazes. You guys are totally missing out. There's a whole lot of info hiding in your average pee mail. When dogs want to share the latest gossip, we just wait until nature calls. You'd be amazed what we can learn during the quick bathroom break. People read the news, check the TV, browse the web. I linger over a fire hydrant and inhale the whole wide world. My ears, by the way, are almost as remarkable as my nose. I pick up all kinds of things humans cannot hear. What we would do with our noses and ears is kind of like taking a big old nut and loosening it up, separating out the strands, unbraiding things. People smell of reeking piles of trash in the dumpster, and we smell a dollop of cream cheese, a hint of peanut butter, and a splattering of Fruit Loops. People hear the roars of a crowd in a stadium, and we hear a strain of a whiny 4-year-old, a whisper of worried superfan, and a note of a grumpy hot dog vendor. Man, dogs are cool. Snickers. While I watch from the perch of my back of the couch, Julia passes by on the sidewalk. George asked her to keep her dog walking routine close to home in case the weather changes. She's wearing a shiny purple raincoat, leading 3 dogs, a goofy mutt named Winston, a timid dog named Oscar Meyer, and her Snickers. An old nemesis of mine. Snickers is a fluffy white poodle with a delusional of grandeur. A big, snooty pain in the puffball. Oh, that pooch drives me crazy. Our mutual dislike goes back into my early years as a stray. Snickers was a fancy, pampered, sleep on a pink satin pillow kind of gal. Her owner, Mac, ran the mall where I lived with Ivan and Ruby. That's where I first encountered Snickers. She teased me miraculously, and beneath the fuzzy facade, I always suspected that there was a little, spark there. Anyhow, after the mall closed down, Snickers, being Snickers, landed on her feet. Mac married an older widow lady with more money than sense, and she dotes on that ridiculous poodle. Mac's too lazy to walk Snickers himself, so guess what? He hired Julia. "Looking good, Snick babe," I call through the open window, and she gives me a curled lip, squinty-eyed face, which, come to think of it, is pretty much how she always looks. As usual, Snickers is dressed to the max. She's wearing a pink poncho, a sparkly rain hat, and teensy pink boots. "Those boots were made for mucking," I add for measure. It feels good giving her some grief, But before I can really relish the moment, another annoying acquaintance of mine appears. Nutwit. Nutwit is a gray squirrel who lives in the live oak in the front lawn, who jumps to the lower branch, looking at me with barely concealed pity. I hate pity, especially the barely concealed kind. I don't even know why you taunt her, he says. You're hardly in position to talk, Bob. You are Snickers. Come over here to the window and say that. So you can what? Drool me to death? Are you afraid that my best friend is a gorilla? I ask. You would make a fantastic ape chow, dude. Nutwit reaches for a dangling acorn and yanks it free. I thought gorillas were vegetarians. Ivan eats termites, I say. He might make an exception for you. Face it, Bob, you're soft. You're one step away from your own pink rain boots. He has a point, says Minnie, one of the family's guinea pigs from her cage next to the TV. No, he doesn't, says Mo from her cage mate. Yes, he does, Minnie squeaks. Doesn't, doesn't. Minnie pauses. Wait, you tricked me. The guinea pigs rarely agree on anything. Nutwit leaps over the window ledge, acorn in paw, and he presses his tiny, twitchy nose on the screen. You couldn't last a day out here, Bob. Some of us have to live by our wiles. Hey, I lived on the street longer than you have been alive. Nutwit nibbles his acorn. He's quite a prissy eater. Whatever you say, Bob. I say, scram. Fine, hint take it. Anyway, the storm's coming. You should be stocking up a nut stash while you can. Nutwit gives me a wise guy look. That's how we do it in the real world. And he scampers off with an acrobatic flourish. Squirrels never do a simple jump when a quadruple backflip cartwheel is an option. You're full of it, I say to nobody in particular. We're full of it, says Minnie. Yeah, we're extremely full of it, says Mo, and the popcorn in agreement. Guinea pigs hop up and down when they're happy. It's called popcorning, and it's totally ridiculous. You're happy. Wag your tail like a real mammal. I am not soft, I mutter, nosing my protruding belly. I leap with effort off the couch, and then I head to the bathroom for good. A long drink from the water bowl of power. The toilet. Spoiled. We know some dogs that are spoiled. We have a couple friends in our class who have spoiled little dogs, including my little Miss Janner. Spoiled. I know Nutwit has a point. I become a creature of habit, spoiled after a stretch of being my own dog. For a long time I was Bob, the beast, cunning and streetwise. As a stray, I lived on leftovers at the mall while Snickers dined on her fancy pants kibble. Man, how I love the cotton candy that stuck to the floor, the unexpected UFOs, the ends of ketchup-covered hot dogs scattered underneath the bleachers like, I don't know, big toes or something. Ivan offered to share his gorilla food with me, and Stella and Ruby were always ready to pass along a carrot or an apple, but I refused. I needed to stay in shape, stay tough, stay true to my wild nature. Okay, maybe every now and then I did sneak a banana chunk from Ivan's breakfast. But then things changed. I've become civilized, a domestic, a pet. Look at that picture. Looks like some of our dogs. Looks definitely like Janner. Spoiled in the blanket. Don't get me wrong, there are definitely some perks. Julia, who's an artist, painted my name on my food bowl. She gave me this wonderfully mushy blanket, the kind where you can just bed boogie forever until it's squished to perfection so you can just curl up in it. I love that blanket, but I simply cannot sleep without Not Tag, Ivan's raggedy old toy gorilla. Of course, just when I get my blanket and Not Tag imprinted into the right amount of Bob, Julia's mom does the unthinkable. She puts them in the washing machine and removes every last bit of me. The daily walks of tug of war string after going stringless my whole life, the attempts to train me like that'll ever happen, the kisses, the cuddling. Well, the cuddling's okay, I suppose. But the kissing, I just don't get. If you want to kiss your dog, why not just give him a big old lick on the face and be done with it? Anyhow, so I've gotten a little spoiled, a tad soft around the edges. There's a difference between being soft and being afraid, being a coward. Another confession. Too bad I know the truth. I'm both. Cricket bully. When Julia returns from walking her charges, I race over and give her a big old Bob style hello. Lots of yipping and twirling, followed by some attempts to jump into her arms. Humans love that stuff. Julia looks at me sternly and says, "Robert, calm down." I leap some more because I'm determined to convince her that I am incorrigible, untrainable. It's a part of my charm, my bobbliness. Down, she says again from her coat pocket. She pulls out a little metal clicker along with some treats. I hate that clicker. I think it's meant to help me train me, but it's like a cricket bully. Here's the theory. I do something right. Julia clicks. Give me a treat. The clicks tell me when I am behaving, and the treat reinforces it. If it happens enough before your eyes, I suppose you transform into a good dog. Well, that ain't easy. Down, Bob. Julia tries again. I want a treat, but not enough to cave, so I opt for a play bow. I compromise. Julia sighs. You are definitely a challenging student. To my annoyance, she puts the treat back in her pocket. I think Julia may be on to me. Trust. A while ago, Julia got it in her head that I needed to improve my manners. We went to a dog training class. I wasn't really into the whole sit and stay and do the tango stuff. The worst command of all, the truly inexcusable, only a human could come up with it order: leave it. Leave it means walk on by, Bob. Sure, there's a piece of bacon just a few inches from your drooling pie hole. But do me a favor and just pretend it's not there, okay? Not okay. Where I come from, you never pass out a free meal. UFO drops onto the carpet, it's mine, and I'll be chowing it down before I can say, where the heck is the meatball? Within minutes, I am accused of being an undermotivated student, which is totally unfair. I am highly motivated. Just show me some cheese, please. Anyhow, I may or may not have been a little unruly. Class clown stuff, tail spinning, a little random peeing, some zoomies, just for show. Class, you can see that crazy dashing around he's doing, said the teacher, pointing at me with an accusing finger. We call that FRAP. Frantic, random activity, period. She pulled Julia aside. He's a smart dog, she said, but he's messing with ya. Which is true, but I hate getting caught in the act. I thought I was more subtle. Bob needs to know who's boss, said his teacher. He needs you to be the pack leader. Give him some time. I see this with a lot of my former strays. Takes them a while to, trust people. Like forever in my case. As we left the class early, I yelled, "So long, suckers!" to my classmates. I couldn't help rubbing it in a little bit. Last chapter. My car thing. I suppose the real reason for training stuff isn't my bad manners, although they leave a bit to be desired. It's a car thing. I've always had a hang up about cars and trucks. Also, riding on lawn mowers, go karts, anything with four wheels, an engine, and a driver. I just don't like them. Don't want to ride in them. Don't want anything to do with them. Those co pilot dogs with their heads hanging out the window, flying their drool flags. Boneheads. First of all, it ain't safe. And second of all, bad stuff can happen after you climb into a car. Take it from me. When Julia and George and Stella realized that I have transportation issues, they tried to lure me into the back seat of their car with treats. But you'll be surprised how stubborn I can be. I yelped so loud the neighbors came running out to see what was happening to the poor little dramatic doggie. Score one for the poor little doggie. I'm going to keep going. Two more. Click. That's when they started click training me. Click. Here's a treat. Come closer to the car, Bob. Click. Here's a treat. Watch me open the door, Bob. Click. Here's a treat. Come right up to the seat, Bob. Click. Here's a treat. Come on in, Bob. 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 Where are you, Bob? Yeah. It was like that a lot. Options. Still haven't been in a car or a truck or a tractor for the matter. Well, when I have to go into the rhymes with a pet threat, Julie and her parents just walk me there. They say elephants have long memories. Well, so do dogs, people. It's not like I'm afraid. I'm just exercising my options. Full wag. Are you ready to head over to the park, George asks as he pauses through the living room. He's carrying 2 flashlights and a roll of masking tape. Yep, Julia says, and I'll do a head tilt to show that I am intrigued by the conversation. The place where Ivan and Ruby live is called the Wild World Zoological Park and Sanctuary, but everyone just calls it the park. George works at the park as the head groundskeeper, which means I've got some sway, and everyone who's employed there just loves Julia. Give me a minute, I just need to grab my coat, says George. Straight home after that, though, Julia, says Sarah, just in case the weather gets worse. 1 minute the weatherman's saying that we're going to have a little shower, and the next minute it's a storm of the century. Julia scratches her head. I thought Hurricane Gus wasn't coming until tomorrow. Sometimes they change the course, said Sarah. They can be very unpredictable. You know, George says with a wink, in the old days, they were just named hurricanes after women. Julia groans. That is so sexist. It is not just the wind that I am worried about this one, George says. It's the storm surge that could be a problem. Flooding. Julia tries to make me wear her mom's last creation, a knitted dog sweater with security written on it, which I suppose is ironic reference to my petite size. I politely decline. All right, you win, Julia says. Ready for your walk, Bob? At the mention of the word walk, I go all crazy mutt, so it's very crystal clear that I'm on to the idea. Humans love it when we get silly. They think we're so weighed down by people problems that sometimes they need us to be reminded to what happy looks like. Julia attaches my string, and I try for a little tug of war, but she refuses to buy it. Let's go see Ivan and Ruby, she says. Just hearing those names sends my tail into full swag. Good words, bad words. Last chapter. I've never met a dog who didn't get an old grin on his kisser when we slipped into a conversation. Dogs understand more than you think. The Nature Channel says that we're about as smart as the average human toddler. 2-year-olds, my fuzzy rump, were like 1,000,000 times brainier than a babbling rugrat. There was a dog on the Man's Best Friend show who supposedly understood like 1,000 human words. Border Collie, I think. Those guys need to switch to decaf. The narrator was gushing about this wonder dog. And I'm like, well, duh, Brainiac. Of course we understand people. Not everything, mind you. And some of us are more attentive than others. Depends a lot on how we are just interesting to your humans or depends about a lot on just how interesting your humans happen to be. Certain words will really cause our ears to perk up. The classics: treat, walk, frisbee, bacon. And don't forget the swear words: vet, bath, fireworks, vacuum cleaner. Oh, we always hear those. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed those chapters. I read all the way to page 72. And then again, too, all you have to do is write 3 events that happened. What is happening? Let's not forget that a storm, the hurricane, is coming. And now they're going back to the park to go see Ivan and Ruby. Okay, make it good sentences. Stretch those out. You got this.